November 18th, 2025, meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission to order. And first order of business would be attendance. Eleanor?
Present.
Jennifer?
Present.
And I'm Paul Wendelgast, chair, present. Next, we're taking things a bit out of order tonight as a result of wanting to move some of Brian McGrail's matters to the beginning. So we will be dealing with minutes later in the meeting because Brian has to move on. Our first matter, so we'll go on to DEP 313653 is pack self-storage at Wakefield. That has been continued again to December 2nd at the applicant's request. So we won't be dealing with picking that up tonight. The next is DEP 313651 L&L Development LLC at 154 to 158 Salem Street. That's a notice of intent that's been continued now for a single family home. And I think, Brian, you want to speak to that one, don't you?
I do. 154 Salem Street, right, Mr. Chair?
Right.
54.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the courtesy. I have a conflict in Winchester tonight after this, so I appreciate it. With me tonight is Rich Williams from Williams and Sparagus, our engineer. As the commission knows, we've been working on obtaining sign-offs from both the town engineer and the engineer working for our neighbors at Nablus Way on review of this project. We believe that we're at a point that we have all parties satisfied with this matter. We were at the Zoning Board of Appeals last week, and it's fair to say that they are good with where we are. They're looking for confirmation from the Conservation Commission and from the Planning Board. We'll be meeting with the Planning Board next Tuesday, but we think we're in a pretty good spot with them as well. We meet with them next Tuesday because, as you know, we need to make sure that all plans for all three boards/commissions are in sync with each other. What I would like to do tonight, Mr. Chair, is review the town engineer letter that was issued to your commission, and we're hoping to confirm that the commission is at this point all set with this matter. We do have a few housekeeping changes to the final plan set that we will submit that I'll address in a bit. So we need to do a couple of those things. So we're not looking to close the hearing out. We just kind of want to make sure we're really in the right direction to get the plans finalized in sync. So with that said, Mr. Chair, is it okay if I share my screen to
Yes, please do.
go through the town engineer letter in a little bit of detail?
Let's do that.
So this is town engineer Tim Wilson to your commission. He just cites the materials, which they will get supplemented, and we'll submit a full package to your commission. As I mentioned, there'll be a couple of final updates, which I'll get into in a minute. But the significant part of this is we can go through these. These were his comments on the plans that have been provided to date. Number one, he said the current utility layout proposal presents significant maintenance challenges and does not meet the required standards for future servicing. It is essential to redesign the layout to ensure sufficient separation between utilities, facilitating easier access and maintenance. A key concern is the location of the water services and how the town's maintenance personnel will access them. To facilitate unrestricted access to town, requesting inclusion of a meter pit within the proposed right-of-way. The applicant's engineer should reach out to the engineering division to discuss. So that has been done. Our response was the water service has been redesigned for easier access and maintenance, and town engineer response comment addressed. So that's been addressed on the plans to date and will be on the final plans. Two, the subdivision bylaw requires use of class 4 RCP to be used within roadways for drainage pipes. The current plan should be revised to ensure compliance by specifying RCP for all drainage pipes within the roadway limits. Our response was that we've revised it to that extent as required. And again, the town engineer response comment has been addressed. Number three, the overflow for SWMA1P appears to discharge into a swale that connects to SWMA3P, detention pond number 1. Within this swale, 2 sewer manhole covers are present, with their rim elevations matching the swale's bottom elevation. The engineering division does not support this configuration due to the risk of stormwater entering the town sewer system. Even with watertight frames and covers, concerns remain regarding accessibility and maintenance of the manholes during rainfall events. The plans must be revised to ensure no SMHs are located within the drainage swale. Our response: SWMA 3P has been revised to extend along the westerly proposed retaining wall. However, the sewer manholes have been relocated and raised to be above the top of the infiltration pond elevation and outside the limits of the pond. Town engineer response comment has been addressed. Number 4, proposed infiltration system SWMA2P, SWMA3P, and SWMA4P appear to have portions within 50 feet of the wetlands. Infiltration systems must have a minimum setback of 50 feet from surface waters, including wetlands. And while no dimensions are provided, it doesn't appear the systems have 50-foot setbacks. Systems shall be reconfigured to ensure no portions within 50 feet setback requirement. Our response: SWMA2P, SWMA3P have been relocated to be greater than 50 feet from the wetland area. After conversation with Tim Wilson, that's the town engineer, or the assistant town engineer, we agreed that we would line the detention pond SWMA4P and remove infiltration from our calculations, thus allowing that pond to remain in its designation. Town engineer states comment has been addressed. Number 5, the plan set doesn't include any details for the proposed detention basins. Update the plans to include details for these systems. So Rich responded: drain profiles showing spillways, outlet structures, and a note indicated a type of soil required for both SWMA3P and 4 have been added to sheet 9. An impervious barrier has been properly labeled on the drain profile for number 4. Two 4-inch perforated pipes surrounded by 12 inches of stone, and a reducer coupling at a 1-inch PVC outlet pipe is proposed at the bottom of the elevation of pond SWMA4P to prevent standing water. And the town engineer responded: his comment has been addressed. 6, no test hole information was witnessed by the town for the site. Soil conditions and estimated high groundwater levels shall be field verified by town staff at the locations of all infiltrative BMPs prior to project approval. Applicant's response: retesting was performed by Thorson Ackley of Williams and Sparagus and witnessed by William Renault, the town engineer, on June 3rd. So we actually redid the test holes so they could witness, and they state comment addressed. Number 7, based on the provided soil logs, the engineering division doesn't agree with classifying the soil in subcatchment area E1B as HSGD, given that the logs identify the soil as coarse sand. The appropriate classification should be HSGA or B. Please update the drainage report accordingly to ensure E1B is analyzed using an HSGA or B soil classification. So we did update the report as required. Everything still worked. Comment addressed. 8, the type of foundations proposed for the buildings is unclear. The engineering division is concerned about the setbacks of the underground infiltration system from these foundations and the potential for basement flooding. Clarification is needed to assess whether the proposed system meets setback requirements. Our response was: the buildings will be constructed with typical concrete foundations. We will provide enhanced waterproofing on sides that are adjacent to proposed underground stormwater systems. Note 7 has been added to sheet 5 indicating which foundations will be constructed with enhanced waterproofing. Town engineer states comment address. Number 9, update the limits of subcatchment areas to follow the wetland flagging. That was updated accordingly, and the town engineer reviewed it and said comment addressed. Number 10 is simple. It just says that they want as-built plans at certain stages, which we've agreed to. Number 11, prior to certificate of compliance, we have to provide a final as-built plan for review and approval, which is standard. And those are recommended conditions of approval. Number 12, a recommended condition of approval is that the developer will be required to hire at their expense an environmental monitor to provide review of the construction phase sedimentation control. The environmental monitor shall be approved by the DPW based on experience and shall provide the engineering division with periodic inspection reports at frequencies outlined within this approved stormwater pollution protection plan. Number 13 was a new comment. The recharge calculations in the stormwater report currently include SWMA 4P. However, since that will be lined and unable to infiltrate, it should be excluded from the recharge analysis. Please revise the report. So that was revised and everything worked, and the town engineer said, comment address. Number 14 was another new comment. The TSS removal calculation worksheet for SWMA1P and 2 should be revised to include pre-treatment measures. Please update the stormwater report to reflect this correction and ensure the worksheet accounts for all components contributing to the TSS removal. Response was we did revise it, and the comment was addressed according to the town engineer. And lastly, number 15, another new comment. Please provide mounting analysis for SWMA 2P and 3. The bottom of the systems are located within 4 feet of the estimated seasonal high groundwater table. And additional evaluation is needed to confirm that mounding will not compromise the system performance or result in breakout conditions. So a mounting analysis and summary for both ponds was provided now in the stormwater report and reviewed by the town engineer. The results of the analysis show no effect to the functionality of either of those basins. So the town engineer stated comment addressed. So the town engineer, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, is fully satisfied. Our neighbors at Nablus, they had their engineer look at it. We have a couple of housekeeping items on the plan that we need to address for them. One is that they want, for lack of a better term, they want some modification to the liner that goes on the wall abutting to their property to beef it up or to do some changes to it, and we're happy to do that. And so our plan needs to be revised just to reflect that. In fairness to them, that should be on the plan. They've been gracious enough to work with us through this process. And they've also requested that we look at the possibility of putting some additional landscaping between the unit 8 on the attached dwelling lot where the condominiums will be between their property. And we're going to look at that. I talked to Rich Williams about that. We think we can do that with no ill effects. So, and there's a couple of items that need to go on the plan as conditions. You know, the town engineer likes these conditions on environmental monitor, as-built plans. Some of those conditions, instead of in a decision or an order, they like them right on the face of the plan, because that way the person who's doing the construction or bidding on the job has no excuse that, oh gee, I didn't see it on the plans I looked at. You know, I didn't know it was buried in the condition somewhere. So town engineer has asked for us to, you know, to do that. So we will be doing that. We've also had an opportunity since we last met with you to walk the property with our other neighbor on the other side, Ed Smith, who I think is on tonight. We had a great site visit with Ed. We thank him for inviting us out, and we walked the property lines. Currently one of our houses is on his property, so that's obviously going to get taken down and moved off, which is a benefit. And we made a commitment to Ed that we will, you know, take our tree guy out there prior to any trees coming down to make sure that we're all on the same page and property lines, etc. Ed had his property survey and was kind enough to share his survey with us. So we appreciate him. So that's where we are, Mr. Chair. So what we're hoping for is that, you know, we're going to prepare our final submittal. There were a couple little changes to the landscaping plan. The Zoning Board of Appeals wanted bigger trees planted initially. So we've agreed to that. So that's been revised on the landscaping plan. So, you know, prior to your meeting in 2 weeks, what we would plan to do, if it's okay with your commission, is to submit what we deem to be the final plans with these adjustments that I talked about, enhancements, updated stormwater report, etc. So your record is reflective of what's been reviewed by the town engineer. And assuming everything looks good to you, once you see it, our hope will be to hopefully be able to close this out, close the public hearing at the next meeting.
Okay,
We're happy to answer any questions. Sorry for the long-windedness, but I think it had to be done with the town engineer's letter.
no, it was helpful to go through and at least catch the various points. Are there questions? for Brian. I had one, it's SWMA 4P, which doesn't drain to the swale. Where does it go?
That's a Rich Williams question. Rich, you're muted. You could unmute.
Does
It's
that,
a
it's
question.
a fully lined pond, so it's obviously not going into the soils below.
Yeah, it doesn't go into the soil. It just acts as a detention basin. So it just slows the flow down, and it discharges through a very small pipe.
And the pipe is going into the wetland then, or?
It discharges towards the wetland. The outlet is outside the 25 feet though.
Okay. Okay. And that'll be shown on the plans as when we get them, I presume.
Yep.
Okay. Otherwise, I didn't have any others that jumped out at me as we went through the list. Fortunately, engineering had sent us that list previously, and so we got a chance to look it over. At least briefly. So, anything else from Eleanor or Jennifer?
I was just curious, the lining between the properties that you mentioned, I think you said the abutter wanted that one. And what is the lining? What will the lining do?
The liner is a rubber barrier that is proposed between our infiltration system and the retaining wall that is adjacent to the Nablus Way property. So the purpose of the lining is just to make sure that the infiltration happens vertically and doesn't go out through the wall weep holes.
Okay. So the weep holes won't be taking any flow from the infiltration system.
That's correct.
If the lining's covering those over, obviously they won't be taking much flow from any place.
Well, the liner is like 5 feet from the wall, so
Okay.
it's it doesn't line the wall. It's just a barrier between the stormwater system and the adjacent construction.
Okay. I understand. Thanks. Ethan, anything from you?
No.
Okay. Jennifer, anything additional?
No.
Eleanor?
Good, thanks.
Okay, I think we are good. So we'll be anticipating a revised set of plans in the next week or so.
Yes,
And then from there, it will be, we should be able to get it onto our agenda for the next meeting in early December.
that would be great.
Okay, anything further tonight? Anything from the public? Questions for this project? Scott Hanley has his hand up and Ed Smith has his hand up. Okay. I'll go to Scott first since he's on the left on my screen.
And I'm a lefty. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of concerns, a couple of questions. I've missed the last couple meetings last month and even the one in September. I know Mr. Smith mentioned some of my concerns that we had submitted to him to read at one of the previous meetings. And I guess some of the questions that we had down, I'm not sure if they were ever addressed or answered by either the developer or the commission. You know, and my concerns were, you know, erosion control, how many trees were being removed on the site, how long the site would stay, you know, clear cut. I'm not sure if any of those had been answered. Have those been addressed in the past, you know, month to 6 weeks, I guess?
So I can answer that, Mr. Chair, if you like.
I think I'd appreciate that, Brian.
We have, we, you know, we have to submit a stormwater pollution protection plan. That's part of the development that's reviewed by the town and by the town engineering department on how all of that is going to, you know, be accounted for and to control stormwater, et cetera. That's a requirement.
Does that
Also,
show-
Brian, just
Go ahead, Rich.
yeah, I'm sorry. Also, we have erosion controls that are around the perimeter of the site. It's all shown on the plan, and it's outside the 25 feet and outside the property line. So that is shown on the plan.
Okay, so that has been addressed. Thank you. I guess the other concern I have is to the commission, basically, wildlife habitat concerns. I don't know if that's been brought up. I realize that the commission and a lot of the engineering discussions have been around stormwater and drainage. But have there been many, if any, discussions about, what this size development does to habitat, wildlife habitat? That's, as mentioned before, it's probably a habitat corridor and a wildlife corridor up to Reedy Meadow. And, I don't know if those concerns, which I have been addressed or even discussed.
There's a challenge here in that we have jurisdiction over wetlands and riverbanks, banks of water bodies. But while we are called a conservation commission, we have no specific authority over wildlife and wildlife corridors, except to the extent that they are affected by changes to wetlands or water bodies. We've avoided the applicant has generally avoided impacts to the wetlands and water bodies. Their work has been in buffer zones to those rather than directly affecting the wetlands or the water bodies. And as a result, we don't really have a way to get our arms around wildlife corridors, as I understand our enabling legislation. I'd ask my colleagues if they have anything to add on that.
I think we try to adhere to 25-foot setback policy for the wetlands, and the applicant has honored that. Wakefield does not have its own local bylaw, so that's where local towns can put in place sort of more stringent protections, for new development, but we don't have anything like that in Wakefield. So we're limited to what the Wetlands Protection Act will allow. And as long as they're complying with, they're meeting the performance standards outlined in the Wetlands Protection Act, that's what we have to rule on. We basically just condition the work so that it complies. But certainly we care very much about wildlife corridors, and certainly keeping the part that's closest to the wetlands is really important. I don't know if Jennifer has anything else to add.
Just to agree with what you and Paul said, and I think it would be again, I mean, we can sort of work within the jurisdiction that the Wetlands Protection Act gives us, and if we were to go beyond that, we would certainly be overturned after an appeal, after a lot of time and money, and making no difference in the end in this case.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring it up. Last note, if I could, to Mr. McGrail. During your reading of the letter from the engineer, one of the things that said on the foundation, you might want to check it noted it would be on the plan, note number 7. I think you wanted to make that to read note number 8.
Thank you, Scott. I'll take a look at it.
I do read everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate.
Okay, anything else, Scott?
No, that's it. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Edward Smith.
Yes, Ed Smith, Director Butter, 162 Salem Street. I just want to thank the board again for their diligent work and their caring about the community. And I know you're operating at a half staff there. I really appreciate it. But some of the things that concern me, Scott already mentioned, but one of the major things is that wildlife corridor he mentioned. I also am worried about that, just for the sheer number of animals and ecosystems that are in that area. I mean, they have their plans and, their statistics, but, overall, it might not happen, after it gets built right away, but eventually things will start to leak in. And it's my belief that will happen, but I mean, I'm not an expert in that field, but I was just wondering, what plans, where do you guys stand, as of now, so things don't get compromised too much, and lead further to the destruction of the animals, etc. And it seems like so many of these condos or other things go up. Not that it's your fault, but I mean, I'm talking about everywhere, other towns, everywhere. It's like there's nothing left. So where are these creatures gonna go? And just hope you do really check everything out good before you approve anything. And I didn't know if you had any opinions, maybe Ellen or Paul, on the overall process of kind of where you guys stand. I know you talked about the trees on one of the other meetings, but just in general, like to get your thoughts, maybe, if you have anything else to add.
I think the wildlife habitat preservation is something that comes along as part of preservation of the wetlands themselves and the buffer areas. We do spend a lot of time and energy paying attention to that. And as I said, we don't really have very specific jurisdiction over wildlife itself. And DEP has some, but none of that is delegated down to us. Our focus is generally enforcement of the Wetland Preservation Act, and to the extent that the WPA allows us to support and maintain wildlife habitat within and up close to wetlands, I think it gives us the ability to do that. But we're not specifically able to treat wildlife corridors, except to the extent that they may be in adjacent to the wetland, as a specific matter we can regulate. Ellen or Jennifer, did either of you have something to add there?
I mean, I would say along, the wildlife habitat, property owners have, I guess, a right to develop their land, and even if it has trees and and forests, but that's where, as a town, we can do a better job inventorying and protecting those wildlife corridors in the town land inventory, because there is a lot that Wakefield owns, and that's kind of where we, can focus our energies, and still support applicants. I completely sympathize with where you're coming from. But we're basically just, trying to weigh that balance of, enabling the applicant to be able to do what they're have by right they're able to do, with mitigating, impact to the environment. So with orders of conditions, we can do things like maybe stipulate when the cutting of the trees is, for example. So it's not during, you know, peak nesting season, or, you know, condition snow storage, so we don't have snow going, you know, going into the wetland. We, you know, do look at the erosion controls. The agent is supposed to be visiting the site periodically to just make sure things are, you know, people are keeping up with the parameters. But I guess that's really where we, you know, the order of conditions is critical, I guess, and where we try to, you know, find that balance.
Well, I just wanted to add, I'm looking at a map of that area on you know, Mass Mapper, which shows property lines, wetlands areas, and you know, it looks like there may be some town-owned land nearby. At least that's what it looks like on the map. That may kind of, I'm not sure without you know, seeing it in person, or maybe you know, I can't like commit the conservation agents to do it, but I wonder if one of them might have time to go have a look at that area and see if there is still some remaining corridor, you know, off property in that area, you know, that might serve that function. But I do remember from the site visit that you all have a lot of you know, really special wildlife in that area. I thought it was really impressive.
I think, I think we've seen the site, we've all walked it, and to the extent we can, we talk about it in these meetings at least. And I think we'll see what the applicant comes back with in terms of changes, modifications with this next updated set of plans. And we'll be making a decision going forward once we see those plans. Those will be posted, and if you want to review them once they're posted and comment at our next meeting, that's something you should do. And be specific about areas where you think there should be improvements or modifications that you think might be helpful for better preservation of the wildlife in the area. But I think as Eleanor and Jennifer noted, we're not able we aren't in the business of preventing development, but rather the business of regulating how it's done so that it's consistent with values we're charged with enforcing. Anything else, Ed?
No, excellent as always. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your time. Brian, do you have anything else on the matter?
No, as I said, you know, we'll get everything in with those, you know, minor changes, and our goal is to close this out at the next meeting if we can.
Okay, we'll look for it next week then. Thank you.
Thank you. So is the new date December 2nd, Mr. Chair? Is that?
Let me bring up my calendar so I can figure that out, because
It is, and I'm going to have a conflict with that.
uh-oh.
Mhm.
Just
Okay.
go the third Tuesday then? Is that?
Eleanor, if you have a conflict, we should discuss rescheduling.
Okay. I'm available is it the third Tuesday?
The third Tuesday in December, which would be the
I think we already have a scheduled meeting,
we have a scheduled meeting for that date, which is the 16th.
16th. Yep, I
Okay.
can.
So we may not be meeting on the 2nd of December then.
Yeah, the 16th is fine.
Looks like we'll be meeting on the 16th. Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Thank you for your time tonight.
Oh, a quick question. So for Edward and Scott, kind of in pertaining to following up about questions about that area, can you, you all are abutters, what addresses are you at? And for getting in touch.
Ed is at 162 Salem Street. I
Okay.
didn't get Scott's address.
Oh, you're on mute.
You're muted, Scott.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Jennifer, I am at 5 Toby Lane, across the street.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on this matter?
No, we're all set.
All right, thank you very much.
you.
We will move on to our next item on the agenda, which is 28 Del Carmine Street. Talante Grudge is the applicant. It's a request for determination, or representing the applicant, request for determination of applicability for the construction of an 800 square foot fenced play area within the 200-foot riverfront area. I guess I'll ask Talante if he'd like to speak to this at all.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chair. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Taulant Tibroy. I'm coming in front of you tonight because we have a small daycare on Del Carmine Street, and we wanted to see if we can build enclosed playground area for the children. The scope of work will involve a 4-foot chain link fence with some wood chips in the bottom for absorption of any kids falling. And we don't plan on putting any permanent structures in there. Just going to be toys that we can, swap depending on the season. But it's mostly for, children to spend some time outside.
I have your site plan. I'll bring it up if I can.
I can share my screen if you
You
like,
can
Mr.
share your
Chair.
screen. That'd be great. And show
Sure.
us where, show us that, and give an indication of where your daycare is in that complex too.
Yeah. So this is 20 Del Carmine Street, the building. You come from Water Street this way, and in front of the building, there's a green area in here. So there's a parking lot and then some green area on this side. And this is where we're thinking to put the playground.
So there'd be no permanent structures involved. There'd be fencing, chain link fencing that would be installed, and wood chips put down as a base to basically keep the kids from skidding their knees on anything like asphalt or that.
That's correct. And I have here an existing picture of the site. There's already an existing chain link fence in the back here. So we're not introducing anything new to the area.
Okay, can you show that?
Oh, 1 second, I was sharing the wrong thing.
So the area in question is back on the grassed area beyond the parking.
That's correct.
And it'll be put more or less in the middle of this, of where, what we're seeing, so in front of those large trees.
It's going to be, we tried to push it away from the river. Initially, we thought we're going to put it here, but we tried to stay as far as we, could in the river, from the river. So we thought somewhere in here would be a good spot.
And your request tonight is for us to make a determination of applicability as to whether you need to file a notice of intent or whether we can allow this to proceed without further review.
That's correct.
Okay. My own thoughts looking at it, essentially you'd be putting in a fenced area toward on the grassy area, and obviously having to maintain that as combination grassed and then chips on top of that.
Yeah.
And I assume that the children, when they're in there, are going to be supervised by adults, so you're not going to lose them into the woods or the river.
No, of course, yeah. This is we have ratios that we follow according to EC regulations,
Right.
and yeah, usually there have to be at least 2 teachers with them when they're outside. And
How many children are in the daycare program?
so it's a smaller daycare. This is only 2 rooms, and they each have 9 children. And the way we're going to utilize these is the EC have regulations how many children per square feet. So
Mhm.
these would be the rooms taking turn going outside,
So there'd
not
be
all at the same time.
9 children at the most at any one time.
That's correct.
I see. I'm not sure we need to spend more time on it than this, but I'll ask Eleanor and Jennifer their thoughts, whether we need to do any more in-depth review of this.
I don't think so. I mean, Ethan's summary pointed out, as long as, the area is remaining, pervious, it's not gonna cause any issues with wildlife. I don't, yeah, I don't see any other issues that it presents.
Yeah, I mean, any rain that falls on it will just flow through the wood chips. You're not lining it with any kind of anything impervious below that.
No, we don't need to. No.
Okay, so yeah, I would say that it doesn't strike me that this needs to go any further than your presentation tonight. But Eleanor, thoughts?
No, I mean, I think for me, the larger concern is just the parking lot being so close to the river. But I don't have an issue with the playground.
Yeah, well, the parking lot unfortunately isn't something we can pull back at this point. It
Right.
got away from someone
Yeah.
fast. You're right. That is close.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably take a formal vote to make a determination of non-applicability then. So if I could have a motion from one of you to that effect, I'd appreciate it.
I'll
make a
make a
motion.
motion, well, I'll make a motion that, this proposed, fencing and wood chip, playground, does not require notice of intent
Okay, thank you.
at 20 Del, Carmine
Del Carmine. Yeah.
28 Delco.
Street.
Eleanor, you could second,
Second.
and we'll take roll call. Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I'm in favor as well. So, Talat, I think we are done. Thank you for your time tonight and your presentation.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. And Talat, if you could stop sharing, I would appreciate that because thank you. The next is DEP 313655, Jean P. Marcellin, 17 Valley Street. Notice of intent for the construction of a garage. And within 200 feet of the riverfront area. We've been to the site and we've had this on our agenda before. Is anyone speaking to it tonight?
I don't think we have anyone here tonight. We did close the public hearing last meeting. So
Okay.
this meeting was just issuing an order of conditions.
Okay, so we just need to resurrect or recall the matter and issue an order. Okay. Did you send us a draft order on this one, Ethan?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
I'll pull it up.
all right. I think we just want to look at the incremental conditions that are attached to that.
Actually, I don't think it was on this document. But I'll share this special conditions I had drafted as well.
I think the special
else?
conditions are what we
Yeah.
want to talk about. Because that document is pretty much a standard form.
Yep. There are some setbacks, but we had noted that the river was very far from the site
Yeah.
itself.
Right, the river is the opposite side of the road.
Yes.
And while it's within the 200-foot buffer area, it's more than 100 feet away from the river, as I remember.
So do you usually just leave the buffer 50 feet, even though it's not technically in their yard?
Yeah, it could say 50 or 0 or 100. I think 50 is fine, no matter what number we put. It would have to be an unreasonably high number for it to be applicable here. Yeah.
It seemed like the one place we might want is there, as I remember, there is a storm drain there though, near the property. Am I correct on that?
Yes, we included this condition to utilize erosion controls around the storm drain and around the site.
Okay. Will those remain in place post-construction, or are they only going to be there during construction? Because my guess is we're going to see some, depending on when this is built, we'll see some potential runoff for a while after construction.
I believe the way the condition is written, it's there to prevent sediment from entering the storm drains, whether it's during or after construction. So they would have to stay in place until it's all stabilized.
Okay. I would suggest we amend that 52 then, Ethan, to say erosion and sediment controls shall be installed and utilized, or it shall be utilized until the site is stabilized to prevent sediment from.
Yep.
The site is fully stabilized to prevent sediment from entering nearby storm drains, just to get that, pick up that need.
Yep.
Can we go back up? Any of these others ones? sodium chloride usage, that's one that can go a long ways
S-
through the storm drains and the like. That's a concern.
I have to say I'm a little, yeah, confused on the ordering. When I look at the version, are these conditions special to this project? Because 51, 52, and 53 on my draft look like perpetual conditions. Did you?
Yes, I added this after you had brought
Okay.
it to attention,
Okay.
just to make sure it's separate.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the other conditions are all standard conditions, and all we're doing really is filling in the blanks for
Yep.
those specific conditions. And it's really a question, do we want to say anything different about sodium chloride usage?
I would just say that I thought tree removal was a perpetual condition.
I don't think that would be
Okay.
suited to being perpetual, because that would essentially extend beyond when their work is done.
Well, they would
I mean,
have to,
like
be
any
any
tree they
trees
remove would
removed
have to
have to
be.
be replaced according to our tree removal policy.
Mm.
I guess I'm not sure I understand what you're suggesting, Eleanor, beyond that.
Oh, I thought that was perpetual. That anybody who's removing their trees, if they're
If
subject to the
it's being done
jurisdiction,
in, if it's being done in a jurisdictional area, which this area is, then the applicant would continue to be subject to this condition
Mhm.
because the area in which they'd be working is jurisdictional.
The issue you might run into by having this perpetual is if, 10 years down the line they go to remove a tree, based on this condition being perpetual, it would have to meet the policy. You just raise a potential issue of making it more difficult than it has to be.
Well,
Yeah.
it seems to me that if the tree is still within the 200-foot buffer of the riverine area,
Mhm.
that it should be subject to this.
It would still
It's
be based on the policy.
Right.
I just don't know if it would have to be called out here, because this one was mostly in reference to that one tree they identified, maybe needing to be relocated. So this was just put in place to ensure that was noted and brought to the attention of all of us.
Yeah.
I would just avoid having it perpetual to prevent any issues beyond that.
I guess this is where I'm confused with their tree removal policy. Okay, you don't have it in standard order of conditions, just people know they have to come to the board if they want to remove a tree.
Yes, the policy would still be in place, whether or not we mention it here. This was just so that it was on paper in front of all of our eyes, including the homeowners,
Yeah, I think you should
especially
stay here.
in relation to that one tree they mentioned. Just as a stopgap in case it goes past their attention.
I'd leave that language here.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see that it's.
That's fine.
At a minimum, it's protective now.
Okay.
And our policy does protect. And I'd push that sodium chloride application to, well, I'm not sure I'd at least push it up to 100 feet.
I think the 100-foot buffer is still off of their property.
Okay.
But we can always put it at 100 just to be safe.
Yeah.
I mean, since it's a riverfront area, this probably could go up to 200, right, if we wanted it to.
It could
Mhm.
definitely. We try to keep the conditions both reasonable as well as to the extent that's necessary, but it could always be up to 200. Yeah.
I mean, because it's a riverfront area, it's more concerning, I think. And is this Saugus River watershed?
It's the Mill
Or
River, I
Mill
thought.
River? The Mill River, okay.
I mean, the town is salting the road today.
Hmm. So they can't control the town. The only
No.
thing they can control is their own use
Hmm.
of de-icers.
Yeah, I think given the distance, might be best to avoid preventing them from using the salt, seeing as it's such a small quantity compared to what would be in the road. Just salting their driveway or their front steps.
I think we still want to leave it as well, I guess within 50 feet of the resource area would mean it's the other side of the road.
Hmm.
Right, and I'm wondering too, because they're on a road that's on a hill, you know, probably that water would flow off their property onto the road, and I would think
Probably head into the river.
into the storm drain and then into the river, do you think?
I'm gonna bet that's the case. I would have to.
Or down the hill, you know, whatever doesn't go in the storm drain. And yeah, probably eventually into the river.
We don't really have any plans for this one.
Is the storm drain right in front of their house? Or right in front of the driveway, or is it a little ways down?
I think it was somewhere along the front of the property. Yeah.
Was it 17 Valley?
Yes. I think it's just a big ask to prevent someone from using salt on their property for in perpetuity as well. Just something to consider.
And that is what the town uses?
Yeah, the
Swimming
town, I'm
pool?
sure, salts the street.
Uh-huh. Okay. So we're talking about adding a little bit to what the town is doing, not introducing something different.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, essentially, they have a parking, right now they have a paved parking area. And a house. And they're going to be putting this garage into the hillside behind the paved parking area. So, and there's no storm drain on their property. Any runoff would be going across the road and picking up salt from the town salting, so.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with leaving it as is, and it is a small area that would be treated.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's correct, Jennifer. We go large distances, we're gonna be trying to control, what our DPW does, and we're not gonna get there. So, okay. Then I'd leave it at 50.
Mm.
And anything else in those other specials? Ethan, I see 51, 2, 3. It's just
Just those three.
just the last is if there's a discrepancy between assumed soil and exact and what's really there, they need to give an engineer a new design to the engineering division for the dry well. Okay. All right. I think we can. I think otherwise we don't have anything else on this one. Motion to approve we've closed the hearing, so this would be a motion to approve the order of conditions as it's been written.
I'll make the motion to approve the order of conditions for 17 Valley Street.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thanks. All in favor? Jennifer? Eleanor?
Yep.
And I vote in favor. So this one's approved. Thank you, Ethan.
Yep.
The next is approval of the minutes that we have stacked up from the 14th of October, the 17th of October, the 21st, the 31st, and the 4th of November.
It looks like we also have Libby and
Brian are still on. Do they have other matters before us? Maybe we should let them go home.
We just had that certificate of compliance for 610 Salem Street, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, why don't we take that up then?
What I wanted to, if I can, Mr. Chair, one of the things that was mentioned at the site visit was this issue with the conflicting language on the snow removal.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the commission I would make a proposal to resolve that, and I'd like to do that if I could.
Okay.
So if I can share my screen, this is the condition. It's 57. And the problem with it is if you look at it, the applicant and its successors and ownership shall not store any plowed snow within 100 feet of the wetlands or adjacent to the site or adjacent to any of the detention and filtration basins, constructed wetlands or swales or within locations where the snow melt water would drain directly to any of these systems without passing through the stormwater treatment systems, catch basins, stormwater treatment units, sediment forebays, bioretention swales. And then it says snow storage shall be permitted to those areas shown on the final approved plans if applicable. So the problem I think we have is that the snow storage area that's proposed on the plan totally violates what we're saying up above, right? So, and I think we talked about that and we respect that. So what I did is, and I told the commission I would do, I have some proposed language that could go into the certificate of compliance that would address that. If I can share my screen and I can share this. So this would be in the COC, and it says condition number 57 clarifications. Condition number 57 of the order of conditions contains two provisions that conflict with one another as follows. One, prohibition. Condition number 57 states that no storage or plowing of snow may occur within 100 feet of the wetlands or adjacent to the detention infiltration basins, constructed wetlands or swales, or in any locations where snow melt would drain directly into these systems without first passing through a stormwater treatment system. Two, allowance. Condition number 57 also states that snow storage is permitted only in areas shown on the final approved plans. The conflict arises because the snow storage areas shown on the final approved plans are themselves located within 100 feet, 100 foot, within the 100-foot buffer, and the snow melt from those areas would drain directly into the systems referenced in the prohibition without first passing through a stormwater treatment system, thus resulting in a violation of the prohibition. The commission and the applicant have agreed to resolve this conflict by agreeing that condition number 57 shall be modified as follows and continue in perpetuity. And it would state, notwithstanding any snow storage areas shown on the final approved plan, snow storage or plowing of snow shall be limited to those areas that are fully contained within granite curb sections of the site, which provide controlled drainage and prevents direct discharge of untreated snow melt to regulated resource areas. To the extent that on-site snow accumulation exceeds the capacity of the designated granite curbed sections of the site, or where storage within such areas is not feasible, all excess snow shall be removed from the site and disposed of at an appropriate off-site location in accordance and in compliance with applicable regulations. I thought that kind of captured what we talked about. And, Jennifer had pointed that out, that we could, kind of keep it within the curbed area, but just don't go up above it.
I wonder if a simpler solution would be leaving condition 57 in, but removing its perpetuity portion. That way, once it receives the certificate of compliance, it would no longer be applicable. Rather than like amending the permit.
The problem be with that if you did that, then they could put snow anywhere.
Yeah, I think that would be a problem for us, Ethan.
Wasn't there another condition saying that the snow shall be kept in the designated snow areas? Or is that this one?
That's this one. But I think the problem is those designated snow areas they're up over the curve where they don't go through any drainage system and they're within 100 feet of the wetland.
It's that planting bed on the I'll call it east side of the site, behind the granite curb.
Hmm.
And it drains essentially to the lawn and then on into the river and wetland area.
So where's the new proposed area? Where's
It would
that gonna
just be it would be within the parking area where there's curbing. So if there
Okay.
was a small storm, they could push it to the edge of the curb, but they can't go up above it. And otherwise they would have to remove it as we discussed on the
Okay.
site to get it
So
off.
it'll always go into the storm drainage from the curbed areas. And if there's additional snow beyond that, then they'd have to remove it to an off-site location. Would they remove it to one of their other properties in the vicinity, Brian? Is that what you?
Yes. Yeah, they've got plenty of area across. I mean, and if they sold it, they'd just have to have it trucked off. So,
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I mean, they're fine with this. I mean, we're happy to tweak it. I just thought this kind of, captured the spirit of what we had talked about.
I think it does.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
And so we just amend this to the certificate of compliance. I mean, we add it to the certificate of compliance.
Yeah, it would just be,
Actually, all we need to do is substitute this language as condition 57.
I think it would just be attached to the certificate of compliance and it gets on record. It just memorialize it right on record without having to modify the order.
Okay.
Because if we modify the order, then I think we have to open it up to a public
I'll put
hearing
it up for a
again.
hearing again, whereas if we just append this,
If this is acceptable, I will, send it to Ethan on behalf of my client and state that we agree to it and request that it be added in. So you have that in the file and for the record also.
I'm good with this.
I think it's consistent with what we discussed at the site. So, okay. We probably should accept it with a motion then. Motion to accept the clarification to condition 57 to the order of conditions.
Motion to accept clarification to condition 57 and add it to the certificate of compliance.
I'll
Second.
second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
I'll send that to Ethan tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right, and now we have. Now we can probably go on to minutes.
Mr. Chair, just a point of order, you're going to allow the certificate of compliance as a separate matter?
Ah, we haven't actually acted on the certificate.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Thank you, Brian, for pointing that out.
Well,
Oh, we have another seat available on the commission.
Yeah, but he couldn't appear before us. And
No,
also,
I don't think you want
be a
me.
member. That would be a serious conflict problem. No, thanks for pointing that out, Brian. I guess we need a motion to approve the certificate.
Okay, motion to approve the certificate of compliance.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
and I vote in favor. So we're we're approving a certificate of compliance for 610 Salem with the addition of the clarification for condition number 57. So
Thank
that's
you.
now approved.
Thank you.
And Libby, Brian, thank you for walking us at the site and letting us see it.
Yeah, thank you.
It was helpful.
Appreciate taking the time.
Okay. Move back to the rest of the agenda. It's only 8:15, so we may actually get through much of this. Minutes. I've seen a lot of correspondence in terms of changes and suggestions. Ethan, have you compiled all of those into one final set of minutes for all of these various meetings?
I think Judy had sent around each version, or
It's around each version that's been. So we've seen all of the revised versions, Judy, that reflect folks' comments.
I think I was the last one to submit revisions, and that was to 1014, 1017, 1021, 1031, but they were in the already revised.
Right.
So they include all of the other previous revisions.
Right. You sent those around.
I think Judy had
To-
sent those around. I think the email mentions that it includes your edits in red, like you included.
Right. Okay.
Maybe we go,
Jennifer.
yeah, one by one. So the 1014 minutes, Jennifer circulated. Am I missing something at I can't see the timestamp. Around 3. So that's the version I'm looking at with language in red. And there's a little note at the top, note that the discussion regards a draft bylaw, therefore discussed parameters remain subject to change, which I liked.
That's the 10-14,
Yep.
right?
So I had no issues with those edits.
Nor did I.
Okay.
So, motion to approve the minutes for October 14th.
I'll make the motion.
Amended. And a second.
Second.
All in favor? Eleanor?
Yep.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And I vote in favor. Okay, October 14th is set. Let's bring up October 17th. This was only the bylaw.
Mhm.
And essentially, I think the only change I saw was the note at the top.
Mm.
The
Mhm.
discussion regards a bylaw draft, therefore discussed parameters remain subject to change. What, did I miss something?
That's it.
That's it, okay. So a motion to approve the 17th minutes as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the 10-17 minutes as amended.
Okay,
Second.
second. All in favor, Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
and I'll vote in favor. So 17th minutes are also approved. Now, October 21 was next. Jennifer circulated those this afternoon as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and these include both Eleanor's edits and my edits.
Okay. Right.
I'm fine with these.
Yeah, I didn't see any problems. Who made the edits to the IVW versus Vernal pool? Was that yours, Jennifer? You moved the
I think I
descriptive.
only added, no, I think I only added the note. I didn't edit that.
That was me because I thought the 25-foot buffer was for the IVW, the vernal, and we had been talking about the vernal pool habitat. If vernal pools have more than a 25-foot buffer.
Okay.
So I thought, I guess the way it read that it was just put in the wrong spot.
Okay.
I don't know if you disagree with that.
No, I
Jennifer.
see your point. We did agree that the IVW got 25 feet and that the vernal pool has a no-go zone of 25 feet and a full buffer, I think out to 100, no?
The vernal pool habitat is the resource area and it's 100 feet.
Right, okay. Okay. All right. I guess we need a motion to approve these.
Oh,
This is
I'll make the
the,
motion.
October
October
23rd.
17th.
This is October 21st.
Sorry, October 21st meeting minutes.
In a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Eleanor?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And I vote in favor as well. And then October 31. Again, I think the only addition, no, there's two things. There's the addition at the top, the bylaw of discussion of the bylaw draft, disclaimer. And then there's 100-foot jurisdictional area and a 25-foot setback from bank as defined in the Wetlands Protection Act, rather than top of bank. So, and both of those changes make sense to me.
Mhm.
So
I'll make a motion to approve the 10/31 meeting minutes
and a second.
as amended.
As amended.
I'll second.
And all in favor, Eleanor?
Yep.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And I vote in favor as well. So we're through with 21st, 31st. Now, the 4th. have to go find the 4th. There. Judy had circulated these 9 o'clock this morning with Eleanor's edits.
So you can look down at the, I only did 2. You can look down at the red language. and
Right.
See.
Right. Right. No, I don't disagree with either change, so
Okay.
motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 4th minutes as amended.
Second.
And all in favor, Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
and I'll vote in favor as well. Okay. We now are caught up on minutes.
Ooh, thank you, Judy.
Yes, thank you, Judy, for getting them all pushed out to us. Next. Draft wetland bylaw discussion. Do we want to plow through that tonight? I guess it's the first question, or do we hold this until our meeting on, we have a meeting this Friday, don't we?
Yeah. I think we could talk through maybe some of the research we've done, and Ethan sent something from Elaine this afternoon
Okay,
on vernal pools. If we think just spending a little time on that to inform, Friday's meeting. I guess my, other question is how we sort of manage to move a draft forward. I think I'd been kind of running with it, but I'm not sure that I need to be doing that since we have staff. But certainly I think there were 2 takeaway, our open areas, we're looking at the vernal pool stuff. Jennifer, is there anything else? And I had looked at the,
Well, I mean, I think we ended the last meeting with, or I think within the last meeting, it seemed like we were leaning towards adopting a presumption of a vernal pool.
yes.
yes,
The feedback we've gotten, from Matt Vernon, from other sources, is that, a vernal pool can only be really assessed in the spring. I would have to go back and review, before our meeting on the 21st, our discussions about pond size. I know we discussed that. So there's a request for me to update the vernal pool and isolated wetland section of the draft bylaw. And I just want to check that I have the most recent. I looked in my email for the most recent copy, and I think it's dated 10/17. Is that the
That was the
latest?
last time I sent it. Yeah, I think.
Okay, so that doesn't include any changes that were discussed with, like, in the 10/31 meeting, is that right?
No.
So anything we agreed on in 10/31 still has to go into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Well, I did agree to do that. I will have an issue on Friday. First of all, let me take a look. On Friday, I will only have 1 hour to meet. And I also don't have a way right now to share my screen during the meeting, so I can't be the person to do that.
If you send me the materials, any materials, Jennifer, I can bring them up.
Okay. Mhm.
So I think that might be the easiest way to do that. And I think we had been trying initially to hold this meeting to an hour. These Friday meetings, I think we should probably try to do that again this week.
Yeah.
In fact, we obviously have to. We've got a
Yeah.
schedule, so let's plan for 1 hour from noon to 1. And obviously, we're not going to finish, but if we can advance the discussion and feel like we're at a point where we can direct Ethan to give us back something that looks like a draft, perhaps.
We have a draft. I feel like it just needs edits, like
Then I
bringing
think
these new, yeah.
we should work from that.
Mhm. Did anybody look at what Elaine circulated? I mean, what Ethan forwarded from Elaine?
I
She,
didn't get through all of it, but I did look through probably about half of it.
okay. I thought the MAC recommendations were helpful. You know, how it recommends establishing presumption that an area is a jurisdictional vernal pool. And so they highlighted sections. I just had one question for I think the original part where you talked about revising the going back to the original language that talks about demonstrating a ponding area is not a vernal pool. So in this, it talks about the evidence the ponding area does not hold water. Oh, sorry. Where is it? Where they say it's not a vernal pool habitat for 3 of the 5 years. Hang on, where's that? I saw this language earlier. And like there was a section where it said, let me just word search. That basically if 3 of the most recent 5 years it did not have the species of a vernal pool, if I'm paraphrasing, then you could overcome the presumption that it's a vernal pool.
Mm-hmm.
Most years shall mean 3 out of 5 consecutive years with normal, above normal spring season water tables and rainfalls. For 3 of the 5 years. So in other words, in the last 5 years ago, last 5 years, we're saying in the most recent 3 years or 3 year, years 1, 2, and 3, there was no breeding going on, but years 4 and 5, there is breeding going on. Do we say it's not a vernal pool? Like this was the part that was a little odd to me.
Yeah, we actually had language like this in the original draft of the bylaw, and I remember talking about this even back when Jimmy was still on the commission. And we crossed out that language because if I remember correctly, part of the problem is that, if we try to apply that standard and someone appealed a decision we made based on that standard, we would have no real evidence realistically. I mean, the likelihood is we would have no real evidence to present in an appeal. So it would be almost impossible to, effectuate that.
To actually demonstrate that there was or was not activity, appropriate activity in that pool within 3 of those 5 years.
Mhm.
Right.
We
Oh.
we aren't out there monitoring vernal pools in town on a consistent basis.
Right.
We would have no evidence. The only person who might would be the property owner.
Right. Okay, so I just wanted to see
Makes
if we
sense.
were thinking about going back to that language. So it sounds like no, and
I think it's an impossible standard
Yeah.
to actually meet.
I didn't like it. I was surprised to see it. Yeah, I think that was the feedback Elaine had given us in that updated version where she had said, use the basically use the same standards to overcome the presumption of it with a qualified expert and move away from the years. So are we in agreement on that? Or do you think there's another way to overcome the presumption of vernal pool habitat that doesn't have the year things?
Take a look at what we have currently.
Well, I don't, okay, so when did you send this over, Eleanor?
So I sent it 10/17, I think. Let me see. Or that's when it's
October-
dated. I have to go back to my,
October 17th?
that's the version of the date. I can go back and see when I emailed it, or I can share my screen, but it was after.
Why don't you just share your screen? It's probably easier than me trying to go back.
Sure. Let's see. I think I sent it out because we didn't, that's the weekend. I might have sent it the weekend of the 31st because that's when I got sick.
Hmm.
I have it in an email on November 4th
Okay.
in the afternoon, 1:42.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, so this was the part where I was kind of asking for Jennifer's help because I was a little unclear.
Which one?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Which letter?
It's J and K.
J and K. Okay.
For the vernal pool, and it's really we'd worked with Elaine to come up with this language for the purposes of overcoming a presumption of vernal pool. That was the alternative to 1, 2, 3.
So we just had to take K and clean up the order, since it looks like you squashed two things together into it, but I think it works.
Yeah, does that make sense to you, Jennifer, or were you thinking about it? I feel like you're the expert on vernal pools, so you've been
Definitely not.
researching this.
Definitely not, but let me take a look at it. Okay, the DFW guidelines. Okay, so overcoming the presumption would require evidence presented by a qualified independent reviewer, and that
Except
evidence
for
would
the
be
commission
what's that?
demonstrating that a ponding area is not a vernal pool.
Yeah.
Following the guidelines for the certification of vernal pool habitat per the Mass DEP, Division of Fisheries and Wildlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to do some work on the word orders and delete
Yeah.
excess, but otherwise I'd say the language is what we want.
Okay.
Just take a look, and I think those, I think those DFW criteria are in the materials that were sent around today, vernal pool
Yep,
certification.
Oh, this is like not spelling right.
If you're looking to do the edits on screen, take out the starting with after habitat and independent reviewer, independent qualified reviewer.
Hang on a second. Which, okay, so
Go to the second line to the
Mhm.
fourth word from the end, habitat,
oh,
because you're repeating the text and independent qualified reviewer.
oh, here. Yeah, that's what I was looking
Take
at.
out those 4 words and then move the acceptable to the commission. It's going to need to go further forward in here. So
Oh,
the
okay.
qualified independent reviewer acceptable to the commission,
Okay, I see.
demonstrating that
Yeah. Acceptable.
ponding area is not vernal pool habitat and following the guidelines rather than follows, just following.
Yeah.
And I think you've got it.
One thing I'm wondering about is, well, and I'm looking at the certification criteria for DFW. There's 2 methods, the obligate species method, the facultative amphibian method, and I'm just kind of trying to look at what would it mean to not prove the absence, but essentially demonstrate an absence or that the criteria are not met. So for example, the obligate species method involves biological criteria, meaning amphibians, obligate amphibians, or fairy shrimp, and no flowing outlet. So that means that there would have to be no obligate amphibians and no fairy shrimp, or no outlet.
Or no outlet?
I believe so, because I believe that that's what I'm trying to clarify or wrap my head around now.
I feel like vernal pools don't usually have an outlet.
Yeah, I would think no outlet it would be a fundamental requirement regardless. So I wouldn't say or no outlet because any kind of puddle in the woods with no outlet would.
Or if there is an outlet, I think would be the opposite of showing there is a vernal pool. Showing there's not a vernal pool, somebody could say, oh, there's an outlet. Therefore, it can't meet this criterion.
Right.
So I wonder if in some cases a homeowner could actually show that themselves. Like for example, if showing a permanently flowing outlet, would do that, would we allow them to do that? Or would we say, oh no, you have to go hire a wetland scientist to show us that?
I don't see that most homeowners, present company accepted, are going to have the skill set to be able to do this kind of assessment. And even the 3 of us would be hard put to do all of this assessment.
I don't.
And do that documentation. I think I prefer to keep the professional qualified independent reviewer.
I don't think this is going to come up in a lot of people's backyards.
It's going to be in the wooded area in a 5 acre parcel or something perhaps, but not in backyards.
Yeah.
No. Besides, haven't we already excluded lawns?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I think we're also discouraging people essentially from filling in any kind of, right, depression, stormwater
yeah.
feature that run off like through, the town stormwater regulations, which I think the way Bill explained it sort of applies those standards, but to small, 2 families and more. So I think it'd be hard for people to like just kind of fill in, maybe it's questionable or something. We're not sure. It would still get the IVW protection, I guess. But I'm also wondering, just curious about that like the outlet part too, because as I recall, like those wetlands, in Breakheart, like those it was like vernal pools and IVWs, but they would kind of, when it rained a lot, they would sort of be connected. Like there would be surface water that would flow in from one to the other, that type of thing.
Right. Well, the criteria here is permanently flowing.
Okay. So if there was a permanent outlet, then no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess I'm good with this, but you still have doubts about the wildlife criteria. Like, is there maybe a better standard we could use?
Well, I'm just kind of just walking through what it would look like, and this kind of that question of, does it need to be, I mean, I think it should be qualified reviewer, qualified independent. I think the independent is the part that which would basically mean a homeowner cannot do their own.
right. Either a homeowner
Cannot
or a
provide, cannot
larger
represent
property
themselves.
owner. The homeowner, the larger property owner can't do it, nor can we do it. Would have to be an independent reviewer.
Oh, that's a good point.
We say. I mean, because we're the reviewing agency, we can't make those decisions either. I gotta stand up. So. After a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering how often in a situation where there's a question about a vernal pool, is someone who's in that situation going to need to have a wetlands delineation anyway? Because if it's not a vernal pool, it's something.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to do something in an area that has the potential, it's going to be wet in some way, shape, or form, whether it's vernal pool or whatever. So.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you're gonna need professional help.
Yeah. And I think anybody who's developing a 5 acre or larger parcel is probably going to have professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like,
keep Libby and Brian in business.
yeah, that would be like one of the, the ones we've been hearing.
Yeah. So I suggest we keep the language more or less as we have it here.
Okay. Unless you want to get rid of independent review, and make it qualified reviewer.
Qualified reviewer acceptable to the Conservation Commission. It's okay. We could get rid of Conservation Commission and just use capital C Commission there too.
Mm-hmm.
by qualified review acceptable to the commission. You're right.
And Massachusetts probably needs to be corrected above.
Does that misspell mass? Oh, yep. Goodness, mass.
Your spell
Sorry.
corrector seems to be making the right suggestions. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. Um, okay. Presented by a just qualified reviewer.
Acceptable to the commission? Sure.
Yeah. And then I think in your regulations, if we need to go into more detail about that, you can. It doesn't. Are we more comfortable with that?
I'm fine.
Mhm.
And incidental, oh, go on.
I don't mean to be like kind of on both sides of this, but it does occur to me, you know, if we, I mean, it depends, you know, I guess an expert opinion depends on the quality of the data, and we would be pretty dependent on, yeah, if they're not independent, then it is kind of putting that burden on us to judge the quality of the data. You know, was it sampled at the right times of year, and so on and so forth.
I don't think we can escape that, can we?
No, I feel like Elaine kind of does that already.
I mean, that's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's Ethan and Elaine's job to basically vet the professional documentation coming in front of us. We can apply our own understandings as well, but we have professional staff, and they should be the folks that do that provide us with an evaluation of what's presented to us.
Okay.
No, it's good that you're thinking through these questions. I think it's good. I mean, I was definitely nervous about the like IVW and vernal pool stuff. You know, if we would have like a slew of sort of bylaw only type applications. And I think in looking at Winchester, they've only had something like 15 of those since their bylaw was passed in the 1987 or whenever it was. So it's really few and far between.
That you get applications only under the bylaw?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Most projects are going to rise to the level of requiring the state law to be applied.
Mm-hmm.
So should we move on to the balance of what's here?
I think the next part was to put in intermittent streams, I think, which I did not incorporate.
Okay.
I have to go back to the.
Should we go back up? I think it may be in definitions that we would want to put it, no?
I think, let's see.
Isolated wetlands.
Yeah, I didn't.
Streams.
I haven't done anything on this since
So we basically, you're suggesting we need a definition for intermittent stream.
I think that's what somebody, needs to work on sort of offline and bring it back. That probably makes the most sense.
Right, and I think we did agree to one in the last meeting, so it's in our discussion.
1031, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can work on doing that,
Okay,
getting a definition in there.
that would be
And
awesome.
I think Friday's discussion will probably have to touch on, if we have more than touch on, if we have a 100-foot vernal pool habitat, how much of it, or what language do we use, and how do we think about how much of it do we try to, protect? And there are examples. I think one is in the, I want to say the Sudbury bylaw. I can try to resend that. They have some language that allows them some flexibility and discretion.
Ooh, that sounds good. I had circulated that list with all the links to the different bylaws we were looking at. So I put Sudbury in there.
Okay, I'll look back at that too.
Was there anything in the Lexing? I didn't, again, because this just came out this afternoon. I didn't get a lot of time to look at it. Elaine's other materials, like the Lexington one, is that worth looking at?
I didn't get that far.
Okay. Yeah, I guess next time we should have her send it directly so we have the weekend to look at it.
What was the definition you were asking about, Jennifer?
Well, we were talking about the definition of the intermittent stream.
Just looking to see whether DEP has it in.
We do. We had something I can.
Yeah, we have a pretty.
Intermittent stream is not in 310 CMR.
No,
Oh, it's
but
it's in Judy's minutes.
Okay.
1031.
To 1031's minutes.
Yeah, intermittent stream, a body of water including brooks and creeks which move in a definite channel in the ground due to a hydraulic gradient which flow part of the year and which flows within, into, or out of an area subject to protection under this bylaw. A portion of the stream may flow through a culvert or beneath a bridge. There would be a 100-foot jurisdictional area and a 25-foot setback from the top of bank.
right, actually, it's just a regular bank, but yeah.
Okay.
We dropped top of.
A bank, right. That's what the minutes say. Yep. So I could just copy that in there. Okay.
I think that's probably a good solution.
Yeah.
We want to change the words at all. We can always smith it from there.
Okay, stop sharing. So I could just see if I can quickly grab it. Um, okay, I just copy pasted that. So
Yeah, and just as a reminder, I had sent out if, it would be helpful to look at those potential vernal pools, that spreadsheet, which I sent out like probably a month ago now, but with
Yeah.
the, identified potential vernal pools in Wakefield, and just looking over that list right now, like one of the things that I noted in that chart was for those potential vernal pools, how much kind of undisturbed habitat did they have around them? Is it 360 degrees around the pool? Is it only like 180 or 90? And just looking at it, the only ones that are like 360 degrees intact around the vernal pools are almost always like they're in the town forest, or they're at Reedy Meadow, or there's like one behind Home Depot, but all of the ones that are in, or most or all of the ones that are in residential areas, they already have lost some of that.
By virtue of the fact that there's been construction in those areas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think you would just keep them from losing more, and
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. Okay. Oh, would be subject. Let me just fix the bank. Due to a hydro. Okay, I'm going to share because I pasted that back in.
Okay.
Okay. From the bank. Okay. I don't know. Okay. And got rid of top of bank. Oh shoot, that's the jurisdiction. But wait, I mean, I guess that's what we want to call out.
The definition of intermittent stream works to the end of
Maybe we could move it down.
the end of bridge, and then you may want to move it down to I see you in terms of the location, you're right.
Yeah.
And
So I guess you could just say intermittent stream and then put, it's sort of interesting the way we set this up.
well, I think probably let's go down and look at the definitions for a minute, Eleanor.
Mhm.
The easiest thing to do is just move it down to put it in, add another section in the definitions.
Yep.
But I would suggest
Let me go back down.
that the language, a portion of the stream may flow through a culvert or under a bridge, and then continue that sentence rather than quite how it's written right now. There would be it seems kind of odd.
Oh,
That feels like a note to draft almost.
oh, there is a,
A portion of the stream may flow through a culvert or under a bridge.
actually what we should say is within 100 feet of a intermittent stream, right? Like this should say within 25 feet of isolated wet, like when you're talking about jurisdiction.
Any bank, isolated wetlands, including isolated vegetative wetlands and land subject to flooding, or within
This is supposed to be vernal pool habitat.
vernal pool habitat, or within 100 feet of an intermittent stream, and then move the definition of intermittent
Mhm.
stream down below.
Okay.
Well, why would we not just add intermittent stream to that list of bank, freshwater, wetland, and so forth? As a resource
Yeah, that's a
type?
good point.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, doesn't need to be separate. Bank, freshwater, wetland, marsh, swamp, lake of any size, intermittent stream, land under water bodies.
Oh, yes.
I would agree with Jennifer's
say-
suggestion.
So just put at the end intermittent stream?
Yeah, I could go there.
Or actually, you know what?
I
How
would,
about this over
put it-
here?
yes, intermittent stream. Land under water bodies. And then before the last one, lands within 100 feet, put an or.
Okay. Or. Okay. So then this goes away. And we just move this down to the definitions.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Probably right after vernal pool.
Or isolated wetlands?
Either one, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I'm not sure we have a very consistent organizational principle going here right now.
Yeah, we'll can fix that. And going, since I'm here, a person going back to this, person is not in the regulations, it's in the act itself.
Well, if it's already in the act, I'm not sure we need to do a lot with it here, do we?
I just think it's confusing if you have to go to 3 different places to find a definition.
But we can table that. Let's see. So we're good with that. Intermittent stream is there.
I still want
And we
to fix
basically
that last sentence.
went away from, I guess we want to look at Judy's notes again, isolated. We still had isolated vegetated wetland. I think we were gonna move away from that, right? And just make it isolated wetland.
I think that's the case, yeah.
Isolated wetlands. Oh, here we go. So she has in the notes, isolated wetland would take the place of pond definition with 100-foot jurisdiction and 25-foot setback. Definition to state ponding area of any size underlain by hydric soils. Okay, I think that's where we were going with that, right?
I think so, yeah.
So are you muted?
Oh, I said I think so.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me
I can
now?
hear you, Jennifer, and I can hear
Okay.
Eleanor too.
Let me stop sharing. Do you want to try talking again?
How about this? You can't hear me?
Let's-
I can hear you. I can hear both of you.
Really? I can't hear Jennifer at all. You're gonna have to translate, Ethan. We'll have to play telephone. Now I hear you.
She just cleared her throat, so. Okay,
In a second. Were you good with that definition of
I read up.
replacing pond with, sorry, I just lost my phone. Isolated wetlands would take the definition of pond as Judy circulated in her email. I mean, in the minutes.
I think so. I would have to refresh my memory of that discussion.
Okay.
But
Okay. I can just throw it in there and then send it out. Do you guys, and then I think that kind of gets us to a good place. Ethan, do we know what we're exactly going to be focused on Friday?
I think we will pull together the final vernal pool decisions and then maybe go into exemptions, or we could go back into formatting this into the document like we were doing just now. I think beyond that, we just had like the exemptions or the performance standards to do next. So we can get started on the vernal pools and then see where we go from there.
Okay.
Well, do we have much more to do on vernal pools?
I don't think so. It's really kind of moving on to the regulations, but I think Jennifer will take a closer look and see if there's something
Right.
different.
Could I suggest that we all be working from one common draft on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, this was the one I sent you guys
Okay,
on the 4th. Yeah.
yeah, you probably should just resend it with tonight's.
Yeah, no, I'm
edit.
gonna send it out again with these edits
Okay.
that we just talked
That
about.
sounds great. That will work.
Okay. So I'll throw in that one.
Okay.
Do we want to move on to other items?
I guess we can.
I can't hear you anymore. Hang on a second.
Who, me?
I mean,
It's my, I
I
lost.
was
Step further
kind of just
back.
nodding.
Do you want to do any agent update, Ethan?
Sure.
Do you?
I went to the pre-construction meeting for 94 Butler Ave. That's where they're doing capping of the contaminated soils.
Oh,
So they had it all set
Sounds
to
like-
start doing the work.
Sorry, Ethan, could you just repeat that, the last part?
So they're all set to start doing the work. They had everything in place. I met with the applicant there.
In this case, is the applicant the town, or is it
Yeah,
the,
it was the town. I met with one of the engineers. So they're kind of managing the project.
and they have a contractor running the job for them, presumably.
Yeah, they'll have one doing the capping, someone else doing like the landscaping when the time comes.
Okay.
are they gonna start this work now going into winter?
Yes, I believe they are. Maybe they already started. I think the plan was to start it, have it done by winter, stabilize it all, and then pick it up next year with the landscaping potentially.
Yeah. I mean, you can do the capping so long as the soil isn't frozen.
Yep. A next one I heard from the Edgewater, we talked about the salt storage. They decided they were not going to do the salt storage shed anymore. They're just gonna truck in salt when they need it. I
And
think they
not store it?
yeah, not
No.
storing it on site.
No storage on site.
Okay.
That got too complicated for them.
I heard from the consultant with the open space plan, they were sort of just looking for an update on the timeline. They suggested maybe if they could get it back to the state by January, but I don't think we're quite on that timeline, but they were sort of wondering if we need anything from them at this point, or when they could expect it back to them. So that kind of goes into our other discussion of open space plan update. I think next meeting we could go back to your comments, Eleanor, like you suggested previously. Just pick it up next meeting, talk about what we want to work on next, and what we need to see to get it moving along. I think next meeting we could go through your comments as well as any of the other public comments that we haven't gone through yet, and then pick out which ones we want to address. And then we could follow those up follow up with those edits in the next meeting, and then we might be ready for a final draft at that point. Just 2 or 3 more meetings.
Did I,
For the open space plan?
Yes.
Okay.
did I hear that right, that, we won't be meeting on the 2nd, we're gonna meet on the 16th?
I can't make the 2nd,
Okay, so our next meeting will be the 16th.
16th. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, well, I think you have to see the edits before approving the plan. We've certainly gotten some feedback recently, including from, I guess, the member of the public who participated on the committee.
Yeah, I think last time we discussed it, you mentioned you wanted to go through your edits again. Is that something that we want to do? Or if you want to pick out some to address, or we could just go through the whole document.
Have there been any changes since we've done anything? Because I think, one of the things that might be a challenge is whatever is posted on the website is not maybe the version that you're working off of.
I don't think we made any updates in the last couple months. We had the public comments and all that. We haven't had time to get back onto it.
My thought would be that we should focus on finishing our edits to the bylaw
Mhm.
and then go back to the OSRP. We really don't have the time and to spend on both of them. The downside to that is that the OSRP actually had some time boundaries on it, whereas the bylaw is more our discretion. But
Right.
but
I mean,
we seem to have some momentum on the bylaw.
I agree with you, Paul. It's I think it's hard because we're picking that up, like the OSRP, from sort of a previous group.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's my problem with going back and trying to recapitulate it so thoroughly, is just simply that we're a couple years into that planning period now.
mm. Well, it gets problematic if people feel the process wasn't followed. Like the one member of the public who participated. But anyway, I think, the big push for the open space plan was because of the master plan, and that's, we haven't seen that yet. So I guess all these things kind of go out together at the same time, typically. Or not at the same time, but at least you're referring to a current version of the master plan, not an old
Did
one.
we hear when the master plan was going to be done in our meeting this morning? This afternoon, rather?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't get that sense either from the planning folks.
I think they were just referencing that it was taking some time to get done.
Yeah,
Hopefully soon, but it's always a hope.
yeah, okay.
So I agree with that for now. Let's focus our energies and wrap one thing up, and then
Let's finish up the bylaw. I think we can do that in a reasonable period of time. The other challenge with the OSRP is I feel like it's a tar baby. Touch one
What's-
spot and start pulling away and you squish it somewhere else.
I've never heard that expression, but I like it.
Tar baby?
Yeah.
It's the Uncle Remus stories of long ago, Joel Chandler Harris. I'll send you a reference.
Okay.
I
Just
did
excuse the implicit racism in Joel Chandler Harris, though.
Hmm.
I did have a question that I think goes in the agents, or at least administrative matters. We got an email, I think it was close or more than 2 weeks ago now, from a member of the public who wanted to be a trail steward within her neighborhood. We didn't discuss it in the 11-4 meeting. Was that something? Do you remember the one that I'm talking about, Ethan?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they had identified a trail that wasn't a large like trail or wasn't on town land. So I was going back and forth with them a couple of times just to see what she wanted to do. And I don't think we got to any conclusion yet, but just working
Okay.
with her to see what trail she wants to do and what she would want to
Okay.
do there.
Yeah, Crystal Lake area, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think
Mhm.
usually they don't allow access like right up to the lake. So that's what I was looking into as well.
Okay. All right. But yeah, you've been in touch with her
Mhm.
about that. Okay.
Yep.
I know she does a lot of pickup, like trash pickup around there.
Mm.
It's pretty amazing what people throw out right next to Crystal Lake.
Right next to the reservoir, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else on this matter? Okay. Ethan, anything additional or we
No, did you want to talk about our meeting today?
probably be useful to
Mm.
recount that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Paul and I met with Aaron and Marissa in the town hall, as well as the chair of the planning board and the chair of the ZBA, just to start to see where we can work together more. I think one takeaway was we discussed when we were all reviewing the similar projects or the same projects at the same time, kind of following up with each other, maybe putting together a memo just to say, last meeting we discussed conditions, next meeting we're revising a plan, just to starting to think of ways to work together closer, kind of help each other with what we can do.
And I think the one issue there is somebody's going to have to tell us what the other boards are working on. I think
Yeah.
that may fall to you and Marissa to maintain the communication so that you know when our agendas are overlapping in time. Among
Yeah, I
the
think that's something we could do. Or
okay,
when we're discussing it in the hearing, just something to consider, questioning, oh, where is it with this board? Where is it with this board?
Mm-hmm.
I think when it comes up in meetings, it'll be more clear when we have questions. And I think as far as staff, we can stay on top of it. And when it comes up, we can definitely keep you guys up to date as well.
okay. Yeah, because I think we won't know generally where a particular project is unless the proponent actually tells us.
Right.
So we will need you guys to be our guides on that matter.
Right. And if we have something similarly where the site conditions, change and wetland boundaries change, ZBA might want to change how they look at that project, not,
Mm.
change the sequence of what they're looking at.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we'll follow up with them just as much as they follow up with us. So it goes both ways.
Oh, I've
Right.
never, do they follow up with us
Well,
usually?
they
I've
will.
never-
I mean, like
Okay,
we'll both follow up with what they're updating us on and what we're updating them on.
I
So
think
we'll
this
go
is
back
an
and forth.
attempt to improve communications that have been pretty much non-existent to date.
Is that going to be a regular meeting?
I think we're talking about quarterly
Okay.
for the board chairs. So next one will be first quarter next year sometime.
You know, I was thinking about this topic probably a couple of weeks ago because I went back to watch the town meeting. I want to say it was either spring or fall 2024. And you know, I got started watching it, and it ended up. This wasn't why I was watching it, but it ended up on the 50 Quanah ballot when it went before the town meeting. And I remembered that part of that discussion was about putting some of that land into Article 97, or either Article 97 or permanent conservation. And that made me, you know, kind of think, okay, is that going to be on us to make sure that happens? Is that going to be on one of the other boards?
That's an interesting question. I didn't know that was part of the conditions.
It was
Actually,
part of the
applicant
discussion
even-
and presentation.
yeah.
Was it? It was part of the presentation from the sponsors of the motion at town meeting.
Right, for the overlay district. Yep.
Is it part of the overlay district? Is it a requisite of the overlay district? Is it actually in what town meeting passed, or was it only in the discussion and not in what was finally approved? Is there a way to find that out?
You would look at the town annual report
For 2024.
for 2020. Yeah, if it was fall of 2024.
Has that been produced already?
It's up on the website. It's how I found that other error.
Okay.
But that's a really good point. I find I do, if I see projects come through, I will try and watch some of the other board meetings just to see if, you know, what issues are coming up. And sometimes what I've noticed is the plans that get presented to planning board are a lot easier for a lay person like myself to follow than, you know, the ones that have all the drainage and stuff like that. So Paul, you'll be doing those quarterly meetings on your own with the chairman.
Ethan will be there as well. I think what it'll continue to be is
Marissa is with the planning department, and Erin oversees the land use departments.
right. So it'll be Ethan, Marissa, Aaron, and the two chairs and me.
Okay.
It's more, I think it's an attempt to, as Ethan said, to improve the communications here.
I think it makes sense.
I think especially with the two that we had now, like one group would change something and then the other one would have to wait like a month to hear about it. Like the
Right.
50 Quanah.
Yeah.
Right. Or the fact that this, whatever, the Salem
They're just
Street,
staying on top of it, even if we don't.
Yep.
Yeah, even if it's not necessary, but it's still helpful to know what other groups are doing.
Yeah. So obviously it will provide us with real-time updates on everything, but it will at least start us down the road of having a little bit better understanding of each other.
no, that's
Yeah.
good. Yep.
So we have anything else tonight? The email from Aaron Kokinda. Do we want to talk about that further?
Very carefully.
Okay,
I don't know, Jennifer, if you have any thoughts.
Over it again. I thought the email was pretty clear, and I think one of the things she clarified was that, you know, we can email Ethan and Elaine about kind of projects, which, I mean, that's good. Um, um,
I think one of the pieces that's maybe missing is, you know, Mac and even the town have a pretty broad job description for the agent. And Paul, I'm not sure that that has been shared with anybody. And it would probably be helpful to circulate that. Judy, I have the job description from May of 2024, when we met and we discussed revisions to the job description, but I'm not sure I have a copy of the final that was posted on the website. Is that something you can circulate to everyone?
Before as part of the hiring process, so
Yeah, like it would have, it was,
it would have to come from HR. I asked for it and they said they were handling it.
so we don't have the version that we sent them, the final that we sent them?
I don't have they wanted to go by their final, so that's up to them.
could you just
How they're
poke
gonna handle that. I
Judy?
don't know how they're gonna handle it.
Okay, could you just
Well-
ask if they could move it along or let us know when they're going to produce something?
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, did you request it already, Paul?
No, it sounded like Judy had.
Oh. You can also request it. I don't know why it's, I can circulate the most recent version I had, but definitely like the Mac template is probably what the state looks to. You know, I've been kind of wavering. I'm kind of coming back to your initial concerns, Paul, about independence. It just feels like another impediment. And certainly, I mean, I could go point by point, but maybe I just need to do that for myself. For myself. You know, that the town charter makes clear the conservation agent reports to the town administrator. You know, the agent has to remain independent and impartial. So I keep thinking about those scenarios with, you know, there's an emergency or there's, you know, something that you think is important as the chair. Is someone else going to come along and say, no, you can't do that? Or no, don't worry about that enforcement order. That's not a priority. So it just,
How would that happen? You mean if Aaron were to tell Ethan not to do something we asked him to do?
yes,
You're suggesting?
yes. I mean, I don't think we're asking anything like outside of
I don't know why that would be a
his job.
concern. I don't know why that would be a concern though. If the task is to follow the state regulations, why you
Right.
think Aaron would skirt that as Ethan's supervisor.
I just was confused by some of the messaging from the last meeting. You know, that they will decide and prioritize. That's what I heard. So
But I
anyway,
think
it's not an issue.
But I think
It's not an issue till it's
workflow.
an issue.
It's not workflow, it's workflow. It's not a matter of direct enforcement. I think that was just a misunderstanding, and it's more guiding the workflow is what I took from it.
Okay.
So Judy, what you're saying is we're not in the position to guide the day-to-day workflow that Ethan undertakes, whereas his supervisor is.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. On the
Does
other
it?
hand,
No?
well, I mean, you and Jennifer and I are not supervising Ethan
Here.
today.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, you know, typically an employee can't like give themselves overtime. Like Ethan can't work overtime. He has
Right.
or his limit. He would need permission to do overtime. And so, you know, he has to be paying attention to and reporting to someone about how he is spending his time. I mean, I think the worry is that, you know, okay, is this going to look like the planning department, you know, trying to dictate the Conservation Commission? But I don't necessarily think, I mean, I guess we'll just have to see if that's what it is. But
Right.
I do think there's, you know, a rationale for a clear kind of reporting structure. I mean, I think most jobs have that.
Okay.
And there is a bit of a bifurcation there between Ethan's reporting to us as our agent and his reporting in the town hierarchy
Yeah.
as an employee.
Okay.
So I would suggest with that letter from Aaron that we just leave it.
Okay.
I don't feel it needs or warrants any further response. If we run into an issue or a concern, I think we can elevate that at that time.
Okay. I kind of think it would be helpful if we just put that initial communication to bed and you just responded and said, I agreed with these updates. I think your conversation was not enough. But anyway.
I'm not sure. You mean the conversation last week? I mean, 2 weeks ago?
The you know, fixing an error with the announcement in the meeting cancellation. So putting out,
Okay.
you know, making sure that the meeting date came off the website because people were putting announcements to it. We still had all the advertisements up. And so I think at the end of the day, Paul agreed that it needed to be fixed. And it would be a good idea to send out an announcement. So it wasn't like this rogue thing where nobody was consulted. You know.
So we don't currently have like a policy for that, right? Kind of, you know, emergencies, or do we?
We should probably make one, right?
We can add it to the list.
Yeah.
But DEP does have an emergency response team as well, if there's a wetland emergency. If
Yeah.
there's, you know, oil spilling into a wetland, something like that.
Right. I mean, we don't do emergency responses of that form. The nearest thing we've had to that was the flooding on Water Street, I think. from that beaver damming activity.
Mm. That turned to be addressed by what, cleaning out a culvert that was
Yeah.
blacked out.
Right. As it turned out,
Mhm.
we had to authorize the breaking of the dam under our authorities.
Hmm.
And ultimately, I don't think they ended up having to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think we could go on for ages. Why don't we look to see if there's anything else we need to do before we wrap up tonight?
Okay.
The bylaw,
Um,
we will be
mhm.
meeting on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Got Ethan's update. We've done the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
2 items.
Okay.
At some point, I would like us to just spend a little time on the website. And maybe look at reorganizing things so it's easier for homeowners to find resources they need.
Easier for me to find resources.
I mean, I'm struggling,
It's-
to find the permits.
The latest version of the town's website sucks.
And we lost all these like wonderful resources that Judy had compiled over the years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of important to have that. It shouldn't be a news flash. It's literally people are living their lives next to wetlands, and we want them to, embrace it and know how to live with them. And it's hard I forwarded a communication to Ethan and Elaine that came to the commission mailbox, because the emails aren't, I don't know if something changed and maybe I'm crazy, but I went, Ethan, when I forwarded that to you, I went to the website and I was like, can we not see your email addresses anymore? And I couldn't see them. Now, again, the page is a little weird because depending on where you are, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but I'm not sure applicants can send all that material through the pop-up form. Have you gotten stuff through that form?
I don't think it's a form. I think we have it set up as opening up in the email app, because you can't send stuff like that through the form as easily as the email would be.
Oh, for me, like when I clicked on Elaine's name, it came through the pop-up, like the form, and there was no email address. So it's like things like that, just that, we, take some time to look at that, or maybe, one of us can run with that. I don't know, but this would just be my, like, try and play with it and pretend you're a homeowner, and maybe we can make some, minor improvements.
Yeah. I think mine brings up my email itself. I think Elaine's brings up the form,
Okay.
but mine will bring up the email.
Okay, so we should probably have Elaine's corrected.
Okay.
Um,
Sometimes I think when you have like recurring applicants, they just go based on what they did in the past. So I think the one you mentioned, he mentioned Elaine's name because I think the last time he worked with us, he worked with Elaine. So
yeah.
I'm with him now, so he knows.
No, that's good. I just was worried because sometimes I don't check that mailbox, as often as like you check your email. So I just wanted to make sure you got it timely and got connected with him.
I think you
guess,
sent it the same day, so that was nice and fast. I
yay.
appreciate that.
Good. Last thing, Paul, Jennifer, I sent you, I did notice the error in the annual report where the historic town vote to approve the additional hours was sort of changed. So I got copies of the clerk's minutes from Betsy that show, the correct verbiage that was used during town meeting.
Mhm.
But I have to find out more. So at the next meeting, maybe we can put
So
it on
I-
the agenda.
Are they going to correct the annual report as a result of that? Is that what
I have
you're
not.
suggesting?
It should be. I haven't heard back though.
Okay,
I mean, that's supposed to be the record of events. And then I don't have anything else.
okay.
I will send this draft out right now.
Okay. Yeah, if you do that, then we can pick that up on Friday.
Okay.
Anything else, Jennifer? All right. Ethan, we're good?
Yep.
Judy, anything?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. Then I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second,
thank you, everybody.
favor, Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yep.
and I vote yes. We are adjourned. See
Okay.
you on Friday at noon. Thank you all.
Okay.
Good
Thank
night.
you.